ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे सुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनस्य भद्रं भजता दधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहैतुकी। आप सभी का स्वागत है।
We welcome all of you to this class on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 2, verse number 13. In the previous class, we studied Bhagavan began his teachings, and firstly he told Arjun that you are talking like a Pandit, but you are dejected, you are lamenting. Then he started deliberating on the Tattva Vastu. In our life, whatever events happen, they can be analyzed from the angle of Tattva or from the angle of worldly behavioral reality. So from the point of worldly behavior, we understand that there are so many human beings, we have relations, and we behave accordingly. But the tattva, the truth behind this is what we should understand, because that is the reality.
तो भगवान इसलिए पहले यहाँ जिसका हमें ज्ञान नहीं है
So that is why Bhagavan, first of all, he is telling us, he is explaining to us what we don't know. Because the worldly behavior that anyway we understand. So Shastra teaches us that what we do not know. And with our own intelligence, with our own experience, we cannot understand that. That is why, first of all, he said that there was never a time when we all were not there. So our general understanding is that we are born, we die. So first of all, he is negating this understanding of ours. He is telling something different. That it is not that we were never there. We all were always there. And it is not that we will never exist in future.
हमारे जो मूल कारण है दुख सुख दुख का
So Gita is explaining to us the fundamental cause of our sukha and dukkha, our happiness and misery in this world. In Yoga Sutra, Patanjali says that there are 5 types of kleshas.
तो उन क्लेश का मूल कारण
So
क्या है
the primary cause, the root cause of those kleshas is avidya.
और अविद्या
And
के बाद में
after avidya,
फिर मोह होता है और मोह से
we get into moha, that is bewilderment, and then raga, dvesha.
दुख पाते हैं
And because of that, we suffer.
इसलिए पहले उस अविद्या का जड़ से
So, first of all, in order to uproot the avidya,
क्योंकि
Bhagavan gives this instruction.
निराकरण जो है वो तत्व ज्ञान से ही संभव है
Because avidya can be removed only through knowledge of tattva.
संसार में
So in this world, we see that everyone has the asmita, identification with the body. We think that we are this body, and because of that, we get into raga and dvesha with these worldly objects. And because of that, there is abhinivesh. We have the fear of death. So here, because Arjun's entire question is related to death, it was related to death, that these people would die, then what will be our benefit by killing these people? So that is why, first of all, he wants to tell, Bhagavan wants to tell that there is no death in reality. Actually, there is no death. So that's why he's talking about the discrimination, the vivek between body and atma, because everyone has fear of death. Even from the smallest Jiva till Brahma, everyone is afraid of death. And when a person lives in fear, then out of fear he performs lot of wrong actions. That is why in Gita, when Bhagavan discusses Daivi and Asuri Prakritis, divine and demoniac natures, he talks about Bhaya. So it is extremely important to get rid of this fear. Otherwise, out of fear, we do that what we should not do, and we don't do what we should do. And fear can be eliminated only when we understand that we are beyond death. We never die actually. So that is what Bhagavan is teaching here. This is the knowledge of Tattva. So, verse 13 translation, just as childhood, youth, and old age pertain only to the body of the embodied self, so also the self attains another body after death. A wise person is not bewildered by this. So, in the previous verse, he had told that these people won't die. So, the question can be that why are you telling that nobody dies? We see that everyone dies. Like how they are born, they die also. So Bhagavan is answering that counter question in this verse that actually Atma never dies. And the The person who is wise is never bewildered by this. So that's why instead of using the word Atma, he has used the word Dehina and Deha. So Deha means body, and Dehi is one who is one who thinks that his body belongs to him or her. Like we have wealth, dhan, and the owner of wealth is known as dhani. So actually, the person who is dhani, he is different from the dhana, the wealth. The owner of the wealth is different from the wealth. The person is different from the wealth. So he is not one with the wealth, because wealth may come and go, but the owner of the wealth remains same. A rich man can become poor also. So with from this word we understand that the owner of the wealth is different from the wealth. Similarly, the word that Bhagavan is using Dehi, that word itself proves that the one who is different from the Deha, the body. But now in case of Dhana, wealth, we can see that the owner of the wealth is different from the wealth. But when it comes to the body, it cannot be seen, because it is as if they are joined together, the body and the Atma. But although we cannot see, we can understand from the usage of the words Deha and Dehi. In Sanskrit, Deha word is formed from Deha Dhatu, Deha root. Deha means Upachaya. Upachaya means to collect together. Like there are some objects scattered, and you bring them, collect them together. So that is called Upachaya, to collect them. So this body, it is nothing but a collection. It is like a heap. It is a collection of different parts joined together. So in Hindi, there is a proverb which means like the body, it is simply a collection of different parts, because when this body began, it was just like a drop. Like today modern science says that this entire universe, it began from one dot, one point. So it was like a all energy concentrated in one dot, and then it expanded. That's what modern science says. So our life is also like that. You can consider it like some mini universe. So just like this vast universe that we see, it began from a point. So this mini universe, our body, it also began with a small point. So here we take consume food and it grows. So this body is nothing but food. By eating food continuously only, this body has grown. So you can experiment. You 2 or 3 days you don't eat, then body will start becoming lean and thin. Weight will go down. So body is nothing but a heap of food in a transformed way. That is why in Sanskrit it is said Deha. Deha means heap, collection. So we are not this, and this collection keeps changing. So first, initially you were small. Mhm. Initially you were a child, then you became young, then there was old age, and those who are still not old, they will become old. So in this we keep changing. So who is changing? We are changing, or our body is changing? So this is something to understand very carefully, because we generally forget this. We just focus on the behavior, on the worldly dealings, but we ignore the tattva. So our life is made of both the things, the tattva as well as the worldly dealing. So both are important. Just like there is knowledge of worldly dealings, there equally important is knowledge of tattva. So we should have knowledge of both. Otherwise, we live in agyan, we live in ignorance, and then we become bewildered. So our body is always transforming or changing. There is continuous transformation in that. So when we were like a child, and then the body transformed and we have grown up. We have grown up means our body is grown up, but we never felt sad. We were happy. If by the transformation of body only we become sad, then when we grew up from childhood to youth, then also we should have felt sad. We should have cried. But everyone becomes happy when he or she grows up. And as we start becoming old, then we start becoming anxious. But the way the body is transforming now, similarly, death is also just a change. That is why Bhagavan is telling Tatha Deha Antara Prapti. So the Atma leaves one day, one body and enters another body. So in this phase of transformation, the wise person who is called Dhira here in this verse, Dhir means one who is doing the dharan, one who holds himself. So the chitta of a wise person doesn't become vikrit, it doesn't degrade, he remains stable. That is called dhira. So the dhira person, the wise person, he does not become bewildered by seeing this change of body. But generally, people become bewildered. They become very afraid. That's why they are afraid of death. But here Bhagavan is telling there is no need to be afraid of death, because this has always been happening and it will always happen. Nobody can stop it. It is a rule of this natural nature. So why are you afraid of it? When we don't have any solution to some problem, why should we be afraid of it? Rather, we should understand the tattva behind it and behave or act accordingly. This is called wisdom, dhir person. Those who don't understand, they are lacking in wisdom. They are adhir. So we will again get this body. When we leave one body, we enter another body. What is there to be afraid of that, and why should we lament for that? This is what Bhagavan is trying to explain here. So our gross body and subtle body both are continuously transforming. When you were a child, when you used to see any dream, then you saw yourself as a child. Now that you have grown up, in dream also you see yourself as a grown up person. So it seems that even the subtle body, that is also actually changing. But everybody can intuitively feel that I am not changing. I am seeing this change of body, but while witnessing the change of body, everyone can understand or experience or feel that I am not changing. Because wherever there is a transformation, any transformation always is happening on a foundation of another object which is not transforming. Just like if a tire of a car is rotating, it is holding on to the axle which is actually not moving from its place. Similarly, in the body which is transforming, there should be a stable entity which is actually not changing. And we are that stable entity. That is why we say that I have grown up, I have become old. But if I have become old, then who has become old? The body or the Atma? Because there is a rule that the drashta, the seer, is always different from the drishya, seen. If in front of you you see the computer or the book, then you are not the book. The book or the computer is the drishya, the scene, and you are the drashta, the seer. So the drashta seer is always different from the drishya scene. So if you are feeling that your body is transforming, is changing, then it proves that you are actually yourself not changing. Because if you only would have changed, then who was the seer who would say that it has changed? If you stand on the road and you are seeing the vehicles which are moving, you can count how many vehicles did you see. But if you also move with the vehicle, then who will be there to see how many vehicles moved from there? So if you yourself are the body, when the body is changing, then you are also changing. Then how you can say I changed? Because one who says that I changed, I became young, I became old, he himself is not changing. He saw himself or she saw herself earlier also, and now that person is seeing himself or herself in the youth or in the old age. That's why he can speak like this. So when we understand this properly and we hold ingrain it in our understanding, then we will never be afraid of death. And not being afraid of death does not mean that I just go anywhere, let anybody kill me, it doesn't matter. No, we try to protect ourselves and we perform our duty, but the death which is inevitable, which cannot be stopped, and it will come definitely, we will not be afraid of that. Otherwise, generally, when a person becomes old and death approaches him, then he becomes very anxious or afraid. He may or may not express it. So, if we see our own experience also, we never feel that we never existed. We never feel like that intuitively. We never feel we that there was a time when I did not exist, and we don't think feel like that intuitively that there will be a time where I will not exist. So we all intuitively feel that we were existing earlier in the past, we are existing in the present, and we will exist always in the future. So this intuition is because the we are different from the body, and what is different from the body is called atma, or you use any other word for that. That is always stable, it will never die. And this body, it keeps changing, it keeps transforming. So in Sanskrit, it is known as kunap. Uh, it is kunap. Kunapa is a bag, like yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatu ke. So this is a bag of the three gunas. Like if you have a car and you are driving the car, so you are different from the car. Similarly, this body that we have, it has been called as a chariot in the Upanishad. So the body is like the chariot, the senses are the horses, and the reins are the mind, and the buddhi, intelligence, is the driver, and the atma is sitting there as the passenger. So it is like that only, exactly. So we think that this is ours, and we totally get immersed in bodily thoughts and feelings. Like suppose you write some essay, then you may say that this is written by me, I am the author. If somebody copies that without your permission, then you may file a case against him or her, a copyright case. If you grow something on your field, then you say that it is mine. So if you give birth to something, if you generate something, you say that it is yours. But why do you call your body yours? Because you never gave birth to this body, you did not generate or manufacture it. If you buy something by giving some money, some books, some computer, something, you say that it is yours. So your object means either you manufacture it or you buy it, then you can say it is yours. Then how does this body belong to you? Neither you manufactured it nor you purchased it. Then why do you consider this body to be yours? It doesn't happen in this world. You can't say that you see something and then you say this is object is mine. It is illogical telling that this body is mine. Maybe to maximum extent your parents may still tell you that this body is theirs because they gave birth to this body and they maintained it by spending money. But what we say is that this body is mine. and we tell our parents that who are you to claim that this body is yours. So this is wrong, because if you go to somebody's field and then you say that this crop belongs to me, how is that logical? How is that correct? So think about it. By what logic you think or say that this body belongs to you? You are the owner of this body. So there is no logic in that, that this body belongs to you. In Purva Mimamsa, there is a rule, Sanghatasya Pararthatvat. So whenever there is any Sanghat, Sanghat means joining, like this table is a Sanghata, it is a collection of different parts. All the material objects we see around us, they are all Sanghat. They are collection of various parts. Our body is also a Sanghat. Like I said that this Deham is made by the Dhatu. So this Sanghat that happens, it is not for oneself, it is for others. Like this table, this chair, the body, the book, computer, it is not for itself. Table is not for the table, chair is not for the chair, computer is not for the computer, it is to be used by somebody else. This is a rule. You see anywhere, wherever there is any sanghata that you see, any object that is made by collecting different parts, joining different parts, which is avayavi, it is not for itself. This is the rule. So our body, it is a sanghat. So what does it prove? It proves that this body is not for the body. It is for somebody else. So somebody else, there is two only. One is the Atma sitting inside, or the Paramatma sitting inside. So in reality, the body which we have received is by the mercy of Bhagavan. So we should utilize it to achieve, to obtain Bhagavan, to obtain his seva, to serve him. So the body is like a mechanical instrument. But what we are doing is, we are serving the body itself. So the body is for us, or we are for the body? If you have any instrument like a car or computer, your house, that is for your seva, or you are for it, the seva of that object? That object is meant for your seva. So like when I say that this is my car, that means I can use the car. Others cannot use it, or they may use it only with my permission. So similarly, this body is also an instrument. It is a sanghat. So it is meant for my use. But now what am I doing? I am busy in serving the body. From morning to evening, every person is busy in serving the body. Feed it, bathe it, dress it. Like in temple, how we serve the deity, the priest, the pujari in the temple, they bathe the deity, they dress the deity, they worship the deity, they put them to rest, they fan the deity. That is what we are also doing for this body. This body has become our Bhagavan. If you analyze properly how much time in the day we invest only for the body. Whatever we are doing for the body only. Right from waking up, we become busy in serving the body. And then whole day remain busy in serving the body only. Either we are serving the body, or we are working for it. So either we serve the deity directly, or we perform like Pujari serves the deity directly, or does some other sevas which are also meant for the service of deity only. So similarly, either we are directly serving the body, or we are engaged in some profession which is meant to maintain the body. So this is a very perplexing situation in our life, that that object which should serve us, we only end up serving it. Like there is some car, the car is meant to travel, to be used by us to travel somewhere, not that you just keep it, lock it in your home and just keep cleaning it, washing it and shining it. So Bhagavan also says that this body is a yantra, it's a mechanical instrument. So Bhagavan also says that we are sitting in this instrument and we are wandering here and there. So the purpose of this body, it's this body is extremely important. Through this body, we can obtain that which we cannot obtain through any other body.
तो भगवान श्री कृष्ण स्वयं ही कह रहे हैं.
So Bhagavan Sri Krishna is telling himself, telling that this body has such a one great quality that although it is temporary, but through this body we can achieve the eternal substance, that is Bhagavan himself. So we are busy in seva of that body. And what will be the benefit by always all the time serving the body? It will be taken away from us and then we will keep crying that I lost this body. But what can be done? You misused what was given to you. If some facility is given to you and that facility is meant for doing something productive, like if you are working in a company and you are posted on a very responsible position, so you are given more facilities than others. Why? So that you can do better service, more important service than others. But if you misuse those facilities for yourself, then you will be removed from that job. So if you are working in an office and you have been given a computer, so that computer is meant for doing office work, not for your personal work. So similarly, Bhagavan has given us this body to achieve Him, to understand Him, and this body has that facility. It is capable of realizing Bhagavan. But we are busy in doing that only which even the animals are doing. And then we become feel very proud of that, that we are very advanced. We are more advanced than the animals. We are superior to the animals. But in reality, what is advancement? What is superiority? Bhartrihari ji has said that this man is also animal only, except the horn and the tail. Man is is an animal without horn and tail. Because if he doesn't know Sahitya, no Sangeet, no Kala, then if you don't understand Shastra, then what is the difference between you and the animal? What you are doing, what the animal is also doing. So it says that the only difference is that this animal without tail and horn is one that does not eat grass. But if this animal, which is in the form of a human being, would have eaten grass, then even the animals would have died out of hunger. The animals are surviving only because this animal does not eat grass. This animal in the form of human being is so greedy that he would have eaten the grass, not even the grass, he would have eaten all the animals also. So from this we have to understand that this body that we have received is not just for the sake of body, it is for the body is for the one who is inside the body. The deha is meant for the dehi. So we have to utilize it accordingly. That's why we should not become bewildered, because the cause of moha is ignorance, it is agyan, and in order to eliminate this agyan, Bhagavan is speaking this verse. Then the next verse, number 14, Bhagavan continues the same theme. Now he will be speaking around 20 to 25 verses continuously. because this
जड़ मन जो
illusion,
बैठा
this
हुआ है
bewilderment
तो इसको
has
बार बार
taken
बार बार
strong roots in our
सोचते हैं कि
chitta.
वही बात बार बार क्यों हो
So
रही
it
है।
will seem as if why
एक बात
Bhagwan is telling
को
that
समझ में
same
नहीं
point
आया तो
continuously.
फिर उसको
Because when a
दोहराते
person
हैं,
doesn't
दोहराते हैं,
understand something, then it has
ताकि
to
उसकी
be
बुद्धि में
repeated so that
एक
it
कहते
goes
हैं
deep inside the
सुख से दुखी
intelligence. Because we are very dull
तो
headed,
आगे कहते
so
हैं
we don't understand
धर्मात्मा
things very quickly.
सर्वशास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदाः आगमापायिनो नित्यास्तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत। हे कुंती पुत्र,
Translation: O son of Kunti,
इंद्रियों का अपने
the
विषयों के
contact of the
साथ
senses
संबंध
with their objects
शीत और गर्मी,
generates feelings
सुख
of
और दुख की
heat and
भावना
cold,
उत्पन्न करता है।
happiness and misery.
वे भावनाएं
They are
नित्य हैं,
transitory,
वे आती हैं
having a
और
beginning
जाती हैं,
and an end.
अतएव उन्हें
Therefore,
एक
O
सूत्र में
descendant of
बांधकर
Bharata,
सहन करना
tolerate
चाहिए।
them.
तो जैसे हमारा शरीर बदल रहा है,
So,
जैसे
just
जैसे
like
संसार
our
बदल रहा
body
है,
is changing,
उसी
it is
प्रकार
transforming.
हर वस्तु यहाँ पर बदल रही है।
Similarly, every substance, every object here is
केवल जो
changing.
शरीर ही है वो
Only
नहीं बदलता है,
the one living inside the body, the Dehi, the
वो
Atma,
नहीं बदलता है।
that does not
तो इसमें
change.
जितनी भी चीजें
Except
आप
Atma,
अनुभव करते हैं वो
everything we
बदलती रहती
experience in this world is changing.
हैं। और
And
हम जो भी अनुभव करते हैं अपने
whatever we
जीवन में
experience in our life,
अपनी इंद्रियों से करते हैं।
we experience them through our
आत्मा
senses.
शरीर के अंदर बैठा हुआ है, जैसे आप
Atma
कार
is
में
sitting
बैठे
inside
हैं
the body. Like
तो
suppose
कार
you are sitting inside the car. So
के
the
ऊपर
window of the car,
ग्लास लगा हुआ है,
like
वहीं
where
से
there
आप
is
बाहर देख
glass,
सकते हैं।
from there only you can see
जो
outside.
कार का दरवाजा है उसमें से
The
भी आप
door of
बाहर
the
नहीं देख
car,
सकते।
you can't see outside of that.
इसी प्रकार
You can
हमारे
see from
शरीर
the
के
window
अंदर जो
only.
5 इंद्रियां
Similarly,
हैं
in our body,
उन्हीं
the
से
five
ही
senses which
हम
are there,
संसार का
from
अनुभव करते
those
हैं।
senses only we experience the
जैसे
outer
हमारे
world.
शरीर में झरोखे हैं,
They are
शरीर के
like
अंदर झरोखे होते हैं, खिड़कियां
the
होती हैं,
windows in our body from which we can peep
और जहाँ
outside
भी हम
and we
अनुभव
can
करते हैं
experience this outer world. And whatever we
उस
experience,
अनुभव को 2 वर्ग में विभाजित किया जा
that
सकता है
experience can be divided in two categories.
कि ये या तो वो कुछ अनुकूल होगा
That either this will be favorable
और कुछ
or
प्रतिकूल
unfavorable. So all our
चाहे आप
experiences are
स्पर्श
divided in these two
आँख
categories
से
only,
सुनते हैं
nothing
जीभ
else.
से
Whether you smell through your nose,
रस
whether you
लें,
taste through your tongue, whether you hear through your
या
ear,
फिर
see through
स्पर्श
your
करके
eyes,
देखें,
or touch through your skin.
तो 5 इंद्रियों से 5
These
भिन्न
five
भिन्न
senses,
गुणों
from
का
them
हमको
we
अनुभव
get,
होता है।
we experience five
और
different
जैसे ही वो
qualities.
अनुभव हमको
And
अपने मन के
as
माध्यम
soon
से
as
मिलता
we
है
experience that
तो
through
वो
our
अनुभव दो
mind,
प्रकार का होता
then
है।
that
या तो वो
experience,
हमारे
that
अनुकूल होगा
feeling is of two types only. Either it will be favorable to us or it will be
और यदि
unfavorable to
हमारे
us.
मन में
So
प्रतिकूल
if
है
it is
तो उसको हम
favorable to
दुख
our
कहते हैं।
mind,
प्रतिकूल वेदनीयम दुखम।
if it is unfavorable
और
to
वो
our
अनुभव
mind,
हमारे
then
मन
we
के
call it as
अनुकूल है
dukkha, misery. And if it
तो
is
उसको हम सुख
favorable to
बोलते हैं,
our mind,
वेदनीयम सुखम।
then we call it sukha, happiness.
तो वास्तव में सुख दुख
So in reality, sukha
ये
and dukkha,
शरीर
happiness
के
and misery are
संबंधी
not
object
some
हैं।
fixed objects, that this
ये
object is
हमको मन
happiness,
की
this
स्थिति के
object
ऊपर
is
निर्भर करते
misery.
हैं।
This depends on your state of
कोई
mind.
चीज
Same
हमको कभी
object
सुख दे सकती है,
sometimes
कभी
may
दुख दे
give us
सकती है।
happiness, and
आपको
same thing may
महसूस नहीं हो
sometimes give
सकता।
us misery. It depends on its condition, on
जब
its state.
ठंड पड़ती है
When there is winter,
तो सुख देता है,
then
जब गर्मी
warm,
पड़ती
then
है
hot
ठंडा
water
पानी
gives us
आपको
happiness.
दुख देगा,
But in summer, hot water gives us
ठंडा पानी
misery.
आपको सुख देगा।
That time, cold water gives us
तो
happiness.
वही वस्तु जो है वो
So
सुख
same
दुख
object
में परिवर्तित नहीं होती है, लेकिन आपको अनुभूति
the same
कराती है,
object does not
आपको
transform into
सुख
happiness or
महसूस कराती
misery,
है।
but it makes us
तो
feel
वास्तव
like
में
that
सुख दुख
depending on
किसी
our
वस्तु में
state of
नहीं है,
mind. So in reality, happiness and
वो
misery
वस्तु
are not inside
अदृश्य
some
है।
object. Any
ना
material
उसके
object,
अंदर सुख है ना दुख है,
neither it contains happiness nor it contains misery.
लेकिन ये केवल हमारी मन स्थिति के ऊपर
It
निर्भर करता
simply
है
depends on our state of
कि
mind,
हम उसको उसमें सुख अनुभव करते हैं
that
या
whether
दुख
we
करते हैं।
experience happiness in that or
आप भोजन करते
misery
हैं,
in that. When you eat
आपका
food,
प्रिय भोजन है,
if you are
आप
eating
उसकी
your
भूख
favorite
लगी है,
food
आप उसको
and you
खा
are
रहे हैं, आपको
hungry
सुख
and
प्राप्त
you are
होता है।
eating, then you
लेकिन अब
experience
पेट
happiness.
खराब हो गया,
But if you have a
भूख लगी,
stomach upset, and
कोई भी
if you are
चीज़
suffering
खराब
from
होगी तो
diarrhea,
मन को हो जाएगी,
then seeing that
उसको
food
खाने का
you
मन
may
करेगा।
feel like vomiting. You will not feel like eating.
होती है कभी,
Sometimes we get
बदनामी
food
होती है।
poisoning and we don't feel like
तो
eating
भोजन में
anything.
सुख दुख अगर होता
So
तो
if
हम
happiness and misery would have been
शरीर के
inside
द्वारा
the
ही
food, then
सुख
it
दुख
would have
अनुभव
given
करेंगे।
either happiness or misery now also. But it doesn't
तो
happen
इसीलिए
like that.
भगवान कहते हैं
So
कि
that is
मात्रा
simply
स्पर्श,
depending on our state
स्पर्श
of
तो
mind.
वास्तव में त्वचा से ही
So
होता है,
when Bhagavan is
स्पर्श
telling
करना
Matra
होना
Sparsha, although
स्किन से।
Sparsha happens, touch happens
मात्रा का
through
मतलब होता
skin
है
only, but here it is talking about
मात्रा,
contact,
जैसे आप
Sambandha.
दवाई की बोतल
Matra
में
means
दवाई बहुत
senses.
ज़्यादा मात्रा होगी
Like
तो
we
वो
say that
मेजरमेंट, उसका मतलब
Matra
मापना,
means measurement.
वो मापने का काम
So
करता है।
these
मात्रा
indriyas, the
मापना
senses,
धातु से निकला
their
है।
job is to
तो
measure.
ये इंद्रियां जो है
They
ये
measure.
नापती हैं
So these indriyas, the
बाहर की
senses,
चीज
they
कैसी है
measure
भाई,
the material
आवाज
objects.
कैसी है,
What type
ध्वनि
of
कैसी है।
object is this? What is its form? What is its
जैसे
smell?
आपको
The
पता है
indriyas
कि
measure
थर्मामीटर
everything.
शब्द जो है वो
Like you have a
संस्कृत का ही है।
thermometer. So in English, the word meter has come from the Sanskrit word
तो
matra only.
उससे आप तापमान नापते हैं,
So with that
शरीर का
thermometer, we
तापमान
measure
नापते
the
हैं,
temperature.
पानी का
That's why in Hindi we say tapaman.
मेजरमेंट।
Man means to
ताप
measure,
माने गर्मी।
and tap means heat, to
तो
measure the heat.
जैसे थर्मामीटर जो है
So like
वो
thermometer,
उष्णता का स्तर
it
नापता है,
measures
ऐसे ही ये
the
इंद्रियां भी नापती हैं।
level of
उसका नाम
temperature.
मात्रा दिया है
Similarly,
भगवान ने।
our senses also
जैसे
measure.
जो प्रचलित शब्द है वो तो इंद्रिय है,
And that's why Bhagavan has used
इंद्रियां
the word
नापती हैं।
matra.
इसलिए कहा कि
The popular
स्पर्श
word is
करना,
indriya,
और वो
but here
स्पर्श
Bhagavan is
जिसको
using the word
कहते हैं कि
matra
स्पर्श
because
करना
it
आना पड़ता
performs
है,
the job of
कहीं
measuring.
भी हो।
And the word sparsha is used because
स्पर्श
any
कैसे
sense,
उष्ण आए या
it
कैसे
has to contact the
कैसे
sense
स्पर्श
object
करे,
in some way or the
कैसे
other.
हो।
Although it may not directly
तो
touch
उसका
it,
अपना अपना
but
विषय है।
every
आप
indriya, every
स्पर्श
sense
करके
has its
ध्यान
own
कर सकते
vishaya,
हैं,
its
रूप
sense
का ध्यान
object.
कर सकते हैं।
So
तो
from
उसको
eyes we
उस
cannot
वस्तु को
smell, from
गंध
nose we
करना
cannot
है तो
see.
उसके स्पर्श में लाना
So
पड़ेगा।
from nose, whatever we want
उसका
to
आप
smell, we
स्वाद
have to
लेना
somehow
चाहते हैं
bring
तो
it in
आपको
contact with the
इंद्रियों के
nose. Then
स्पर्श
only
में
we
लाना
can smell
पड़ेगा।
it. If you
उसका
want
आप
to taste
देखना चाहते
something,
हैं
you
तो
have to
आँख
bring
से
that
रोशनी
object in
निकलती है,
contact
तो
with
जो
the
प्रकाश पड़ता है उस
uh,
प्रकाश को आपकी
tongue.
आँख का स्पर्श
So
होगा।
what you are seeing, although that
तो
object is not
इसी
touching the
तरह
eye,
आपके
but
काम
the
है
light which is reflecting, that is touching the eye.
कि इनको
So that
प्राप्त
is why
करना है,
Bhagavan is using the
कभी
word
कभी
sparsha, which means here
जैसे
contact.
थर्मामीटर, जिस चीज़ का
Like
आपको अंदाजा है
thermometer,
उसमें लगाना है
whatever
तो
you have to
उसको
measure,
कहीं
you have to touch it
10
in that
मीटर दूर पड़ा हो
body or in that
तो
object.
आपको
Not that
उसकी
thermometer is
टेम्परेचर
10 meters
देखना है।
away and you can
तो
measure
ये
the heat.
स्पर्श करती हैं हमारी इंद्रियां
So
वस्तुओं
these
को,
our indriyas,
स्पर्श
the
करके
senses,
अनुभव
they
करते हैं।
contact
क्योंकि यहाँ
the
स्पर्श शब्द का प्रयोग किया है
vishayas, the sense
रोशनी,
objects.
रोशनी, क्योंकि स्पर्श से हम यही पता लगाते हैं
And
कि ठंडा है कि गर्म है,
by
गर्म है
sparsha,
कि
by
सर्द है।
touching, we understand whether it is
शीत
hot or
उष्ण
cold.
है
That's why
कि
Shita and
शीतल
Ushna
है कि
words are
ठंडी है।
used. And then that Shita or
और
Ushna,
इसमें
the
सुख
cold
दुख जो
or
है
the
वो
warmth,
एक
it gives us suffering or
मानसिक है।
happiness. So this
उसका
this Shita and Ushna, the feeling of cold and heat here, it gives us,
सुख शब्द जो है वो
it
दो
is
शब्दों
simply
से
a
बना है,
mental
सु और
reaction.
खा।
Sukha word is made with
तो खा
two
बोलते हैं
syllables,
आकाश
su
को,
and kha. Kha means
और
akasha
सु बोलते हैं अच्छे को।
and su means good.
तो सुख का मतलब होता है
So
अच्छा
sukha
आकाश,
means good akash,
और दु और खा
and du and
दुख,
kha, that
ये
is
दो शब्दों
dukha,
से बना है। दुष,
it is also
दुष,
made with
खा
two
का
aksharas.
विसर्ग बन जाता है दुख, यानी कि बुरा
It is
आकाश
from,
और
it is actually
अच्छा
dush, but
आकाश।
that dush shav turns into
यानी कि
visarga, it is
हमारा
dukha.
जो मन
So
है
it is bad akasha.
उसको आकाश यहाँ कहा गया है, हृदय आकाश
So
कहिए,
our
हृदय
mind,
आकाश कहिए।
it is called here akash, the heart,
उसमें
the
उसका
chitta is called
कैसा प्रभाव
akash.
पड़ता है उसी को सुख
So
दुख बोलते हैं।
what
और सुख
type
शब्द
of
की
effect
कोई भी
happens in
स्थिति,
that akasha of the mind or the heart,
जैसे
that
कभी कभी
effect is
किसी
called
व्यक्ति
sukha or
सोचता है कि मुझे
dukkha.
बड़ा सुख
In
मिला,
reality, there is no sukha or dukkha.
तो वो सुख ऐसा नहीं है कि
Like we
चार
say
चीज
that
दो मिल
he
गई,
gave me sukha or
चॉकलेट दे दी
dukkha.
कि ले
So
भाई
it
ये
is not that like giving some chocolate,
ले भाई ये तो गुलाब जामुन खा।
like
तो
you give
सुख
somebody
ऐसे
some
कोई
gulab
है नहीं
jamun. So
जिसको
sukh is not
प्राप्त
some
करना
object that you
कठिन
can
है।
lift and give to somebody.
आप किसी व्यक्ति की इंद्रिय
It
किस प्रकार से प्रतिक्रिया
it
करेगी,
depends on
जब आप
how
शुभ
the
शब्द बोले
person's
या कुछ अच्छा
senses
बोले,
or mind reacts.
जिससे
You
उसको
told
सुख
him
मिले,
or her
उसी को
nice
सुख, वो भी
words,
उसी को सुख
dealt
बोलेगा।
nicely,
तो
and he
सुख
or
वास्तव
she
में है
had
ही
good
नहीं।
experience. That is called sukha. So in reality, there is no
इसको सुख
sukha
दुख
anywhere.
ढूंढते रहते हैं इधर
That's
उधर।
why we keep searching sukha
तो अर्जुन को भी लग
everywhere.
रहा है
So Arjun is also feeling that these people will die, my relatives will die, I will not get sukha. That's why he is now having dukkha, he is having misery. So in reality, he has actually never got any sukha or happiness from those relatives. What did Duryodhan give him? But from any object, we get sukha or dukkha only when we have some samskaras, we have some attachment to that. Any object, you like it only when you have attachment in that. Like if you have some relation with somebody and you have attachment in him or her, then when you see that person, you like sitting with him, you like talking to him, you like working with him. But when you don't have, when your attachment is removed from that person, maybe due to fighting or whatever, now you don't like that person. So sukha is not coming anywhere from outside. This is a great illusion that people have. That's why Bhagavan told in the previous verse that the dhir people, the wise people, do not become bewildered. But because of moha, because of illusion or bewilderment, we think that I am getting sukha from this person or this activity or this place. Different people have different ideas. Some people say, okay, let's go to the riverside, we will feel happy. Let's go to the beach, we will feel happy there. Some people feel happy based on time, that today is my birthday, I am happy. So every day is same only. What is special in birthday? Are flowers falling from the sky? It is simply or some idea in the mind. What special happens on birthday? There is nothing special. So based on time, place, circumstance, you get, so let's say you get some position, you get promoted in your job, then you become very happy. But the other person who is also sitting, after some time, you will also become like that only, other person who already got promoted. And after some time, you will again start feeling like ordinary only. Then you will start dreaming about a position which is again higher than that position. So we keep searching for sukha, that we were try to derive happiness from some person, some material object, new computer, new car, new mobile, new this, that, whatever it is. We will think we will derive happiness from that. Then based on circumstances, situations, we try to derive happiness from them. So we try to measure these people, objects, and situations according to sukha and dukkha. But actually, no person, no object, no situation, no event, no country, no timing, none of them have any sukha, any happiness anywhere. Because if they would have had some happiness, then everybody would have got that. Like sweetness, it is inherent in the sugar. Anybody who puts that sugar in his mouth will feel the sweet taste because it is inherent in the object itself. Similarly, if some person would have sukha in himself or herself, anybody would come in contact with that person would experience the sukha. And if any situation has happiness inherent in it, then everyone who falls in that situation should feel happy. So due to samskaras, due to asakti attachment, and when the state of mind changes and our attachment changes, then we start getting dukkha or misery from that same person from whom we thought were earlier getting happiness. So we should deliberate on this. This is the tattva knowledge. Behavioral worldly dealings are one thing, but always we should not be only immersed in worldly dealing. We should isolate and we should also think about the tattva, and we should try to deliberate and understand what is sukha, what is dukkha. So what is sukha? Wherever you have favorable things with your mind, that is sukha. If you are, wherever your mind is getting some favorable experience, that is sukha, otherwise it is dukkha. Same person or same object, from him one derives happiness, other feels miserable. Some people come to Vrindavan, they think that what do you do in Vrindavan? There is nothing here. There is no nightlife here. What nightlife? Once Aarti is done, now he has been put to, is resting. So people feel very much boring here in Vrindavan. So this sukha and dukkha, they are not in the vishaya, not in the objects. This is all based on our raga and dvesha. That determines our feeling of happiness and misery. Like I told about the five kleshas. So in people, objects, situations, circumstances, countries, timings, we have raga and dvesha. These are states of mind, and that is due to avidya. That is due to ignorance. Because of avidya, we have raga, dvesha, and we keep experiencing sukha and dukkha, and they keep changing. That's why Bhagavan said, Agama Paino. They keep coming and going. Same person, you talk to him nicely, then there is fighting, then again you talk lovingly. So, if you now consider about sugar, it is not that sugar is sweet in the morning and it is sour in the another time. Then you can't eat only, because then you will get confused that I should put sugar or salt, because sugar became salty in some time, salt becomes sweet in some time, but it doesn't happen like that. So this sukha and dukkha, they are not in objects, they are not in situations, they are not in people. They are simply according to our raga and dvesh. And our mind, whenever it will experience, it will feel something, it will always analyze whether it is favorable or unfavorable. Even if you don't see some person, if you see that person, either you feel good or bad. If you hear some music, you may like it or dislike it. If you go to some place, you like or dislike. So your mind is always immersed in this duality. It creates this duality. In reality, there is no duality anywhere. There is no duality outside. The object is object only. The object doesn't have sukha or dukkha in it. It is neither good nor bad. Like knife is neither good nor bad. Gun is neither good nor bad. But how we see it, how we use it, that determines whether it is good or bad. So this duality, this is our in our mind, and this is according to our samskaras, our raga, dvesha. So mind sees it like that. It is not that it has generated or given birth to that duality. It just sees it like that. That's why that also keeps on changing. It is not stable. It is not permanent. It is that duality is now of one type, another time it will be different type. Same object, now I like it, next time I dislike it. That is why the wise person, he tolerates it. That's why Bhagavan is telling tam stitikshasva bharata. That is why, oh Bharata, please tolerate this. So this tolerance, if we can get it, then we can rise beyond happiness and distress. And beyond happiness and distress is ananda. Beyond sukha and dukkha is ananda. So actually we are searching for ananda, but um, we immerse ourselves in this happiness and distress, and mostly we suffer misery only. So anything which is not lying in one place, we will never get it there. So there was a person, he was addicted to drinking wine. So he was going daily. He was so he was going to the bar to drink daily. In Sanskrit, it is known as Madhushala. In Sanskrit, we have these nice words like there is Goshala, there is Pakshala. Similarly, there is Madhushala, the bar. So one day he came late at the night and he was not able to stand properly. He reached home and he was trying to unlock the house. He had drunk so much, so the key fell down, and there it was dark. He could not understand. So when he was searching, he could not find it. So outside there was a lamp post on the street. Street light was there. There he started searching because he was already drunk. So his neighbor was a devotee who used to wake up early in the morning. This person used to sleep very late till around say 4 o'clock. So the neighbor was wondering how he wake up quickly today. So then he thought that what happened? Why have you woken up so early? So he told that no, I have not woken up early. I have not still not slept. So the neighbor asked, what are you doing? And he replied, I am searching for the key. So the neighbor thought that okay, let me try to help him in finding the key, but they could not find. So then the neighbor asked that where had your key fallen? So then he replied, it had fallen there in front of my home. So then the neighbor replied, why are you searching it here if it had fallen there? So the drunk person said that there it is dark. Don't you understand? How can I find it in the darkness? Here there is lights. That's why I'm searching it here. So our condition is like this. Bhagavan, whatever he has told, Dhiras Tatra na muhyati. So by drinking, a person becomes bewildered. In Sanskrit, it is called moha. So we have also drunk this wine of avidya and we are bewildered, illusioned because of that.
संस्कृत में श्लोक है
In Sanskrit, there is a verse that this world, these worldly people, they have drunk this wine of moha and they have become mad. So this madness is that we are searching for happiness where there is no happiness. Why we are searching? Because there we feel there is light. How we will get in darkness? So if sukha is inside you, inside there is darkness and outside there is light. So this ananda, you don't get it from anywhere from outside. In any object, when you experience sukha or ananda, you simply feel like that because you get attached to that. You immerse your mind in that. If your mind is not immersed in that, then you will never get sukha out of it, whatever it may be. If you have a very favorite food and your mind is immersed somewhere else, if some person died, some there was accident, then you will not be happy eating that food that time because your mind is somewhere else. So there is actually no sukha or dukkha outside. So Bhagavan is not telling that directly, but he is telling it comes and goes. So in sugar, sweetness is always there. Does it come and go? But if we had the illusion that either it is salty or it is sweet, then we will have illusion that sometimes it is salty, sometimes it is sweet. So because there is no sukha or dukkha in any object, we start getting into illusion that there is happiness in it or there is misery in it. So Bhagavan is telling, don't remain in this, rise beyond all this. Because we have a mind, and this is the job of mind to always be in the duality. Wherever you see, there will be two parties. Anywhere you go to any organization, any family, you will always see two. Minimum two groups will be there. So why? Because mind is always doing this. Mind always breaks everything into two. So mind will always do this. Until and unless you immerse your mind in Bhagavan, it will always remain caught up in this duality. So this is what Bhagavan says. And at the end, Bhagavan says, now I will tell you the topmost secret. What is that? You immerse your mind in me. Because Bhagavan doesn't have any duality. Bhagavan is stable, he doesn't change. So then we will be actually happy. So this is the secret of Gita, and we have to apply these teachings in our life, and we have to remember that there is difference between Deha, the body, and the Dehi, the Atma. And we should understand that if Atma would have been sad or miserable, then who would be the seer of that misery? when we see that we are miserable, that means we are away from that misery. Take that same example. If somebody says that I am rich, I am dhani, that means I am not that dhana, the wealth. I am different from that. So if somebody says I am dukhi, I am miserable, that means I am not that dukkha. I am away, outside that dukkha. So Atma is neither happy nor miserable. Atma is Atma. Atma is beyond this happiness and misery. But when we do not understand this out of illusion, then we start seeing happiness and misery in all these material objects, and our life gets spent in that. If Atma becomes miserable, then who will be the witness of that misery? Because the witness cannot be the misery. Witness is different from the misery. So today we will stop here. If you have any question, you can ask.
प्रश्न है राधे राधे महाराज जी।
So question,
पिछले प्रवचन में बताया
you
था
told in the
कि
previous
शोक मत
class
करो,
that do not
क्योंकि
lament,
हम
but
से अपना या किसी
if
और से बुरा हो जाए
if something bad happens to us or to somebody else
तो शोक
and
तो
we
आएगा,
feel sad,
आ जाएगा।
then
आप
lamentation
कृपया
happens
मार्गदर्शन
automatically. Can you kindly guide me?
तो ऑटोमेटिकली आता है, वही तो यहाँ बता रहे हैं भगवान।
So that is what Bhagavan is telling. This happens automatically, but you have to put effort to rise beyond that. What happens automatically, Bhagavan is not here for teaching that.
आपको ये देखना है।
So that is what Bhagavan is telling, that whatever happened, and because of that you are feeling guilty, so you should learn from that and understand you should not do that. And if you remain dejected, then you will neither take the lesson nor you will come out of that lamentation. So if you have done something wrong to somebody, then you should apologize and get out of that lamentation.
उत्कर्ष जी कहते हैं, जय जय श्री राधे महाराज। षष्ठांग
Next
दंड
question.
महाराज, मुझे निद्रा एवं आलस्य होता है,
My problem is that I have lot of sleep and laziness, or you may say this is my addiction. How can I get rid of it? I take some vow that I will not do like that, and after 1 2 days again same thing happens. So because of my attachment to the body,
दृढ़ता नहीं आ पा रही,
I
कृपया
am not
मार्गदर्शन
fixed up in achieving my goal. Can you kindly guide me? So the solution is you associate with those people who are very fixed up in achieving their goal. So association will help you. If you are yourself not able to do something, take help from others. That is why in our country there has been the system of making ashrams, because people can go, because everyone is not so self motivated, not so enthusiastic. But when you go to the ashram, live there, you follow its rules, you slowly you associate with very determined fixed up people. So you also make something, one system like this, that whenever you get time, go and live for some time period in an ashram, participate in the programs there, so that you can come out of your tamas.
प्रश्न है राधे राधे महाराज जी,
Next
भगवत गीता
question.
जी श्लोक और उसकी टीका पढ़ने के बाद इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट्स कैसे
When after reading
याद
Bhagavad
कर
Gita
सकते हैं?
verse and its commentary, how can I remember the important points? Can you guide me? So you should note the important points in a notebook and you should keep repeating them. Keep repeating them until and unless you memorize it. Then you have to internalize it, think about it, deliberate on it, and try to apply it in your life. Then it will happen, because this is knowledge is meant for application. It is not for memorization.
उनका ही कहना है कि राधे राधे महाराज जी, आज मेरा भी बर्थडे है, कृपया मार्गदर्शन करें।
So next question is, today is my birthday also, so please guide me. So what guidance can I give for your birthday? So if it is your birthday, you study one chapter of Gita, recite the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So it is good if it is your birthday.
तो क्या सुख दुख आसक्ति से आता है या आसक्ति
So
सुख
the question is, do sukha?
दोनों सुना तो
दोनों से चलता है, एक दूसरे के पूरक हैं।
So the question from where sukha dukkha is from asakti or asakti is from sukha dukkha. So they complement each other. By asakti, by attachment, we get samskaras of sukha dukkha, and when we experience that, again we become attached. So they keep nourishing each other. Attachment and this happiness misery.
अगर मैं शरीर को
Next question.
से भगवान का मानूं या भगवान ने दिया हुआ
Should I understand by this body to be given by God?
या मैं शरीर मानूं, कोई भी कंडीशन में हमको शरीर को ध्यान रखना चाहिए कॉन्शियस से.
So whatever way we understand this body, we have to be conscious of this body. Either it is given by Bhagavan or in ignorance we think it is ours. But in any way we are conscious of it. So we have to maintain it by yoga, pranayam, whatever. So why can't we forget it? Why we have to always be conscious of it? What is the importance of that? Because even if we do sadhana, bhajan, japa, we have to do it with that only. If body is not healthy, we feel unable to do anything, either material activity, spiritual activity. So Bhagavan himself will tell in the upcoming verses. So Bhagavan will be telling that yukta hara viharasya. Yukta means balanced, neither more nor less. Because if you eat too much, if you entertain yourself too much, you will suffer. Food, sleep, vihar. So if you don't do these things in a balanced way, your bodily activities, then you will suffer and you will neither progress materially nor spiritually. It is like a machine, like if you have a car, so you have to maintain it, not that you just used it and you keep it. So if some part is not working properly, you may have to replace it. So similarly, body also. Okay. We'll recite the prayer verses.
सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मंत्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयः स्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिर् ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजंघ्रये भवे भवे यथा भक्तिः पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपापप्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परम् हरि ओम तत्सत्।